That's enough of that. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Mad Trading. I'm Mad Trader, obviously. From this morning and after the Twitch stream, got triggered into a trade short on gold. It's a longer term strategy for the gold side of life. My system told me to get in. Yes, it's going against us. It's only coming up to touch the pivot at the minute. My stop is up at 1505 above the 1 hour resistance. It's also got to break through the daily resistance as well. When you look on the daily chart, we are on a down slide. There is a bit of a base here. Now we've made a higher low than here. Yes, it does look like stochastic's going to turn over, and it's a Friday. Yes, got in at the bottom of this this wick, but you know, we follow the strategy regardless. Hourly, it does look as though there is a let me get to that. Hourly, it does look as though we're pulling higher lows, and then if it breaks to the high side above here, then that would be something for me to address. Let me see by 5 o'clock. So if I go for the R1 daily, if it breaks above here, this 1497 and holds above, in other words, if it gets above here and then closes above here, then I'll be looking to either reduce my risk even further or possibly even closing of the trade. But we're on the we opened on the 15 minute. Oh no, actually I lied, it was the 5 minute. Oh, did I? Yeah, I'm sure I did. Oh, there it is. Oh no, 15 minute, my bad. This line, oh I know. So yeah, over the 15 minute, we'll be looking to move things about if it breaks above. Where's that line I've just put in? I was on the hourly, idiot. What an absolute lunatic. Yeah, so if it breaks above 1499, so 1500, I'll be looking to close the trade out possibly. But here on the 15, if it gets above or up to the daily, I'll be looking at further trade management. We had a losing trade on the pound euro. There was well, an option to get long here on the 15 minute. So we got long through my strategy here on the 15. That didn't work out, came against us, and it gave me an exit signal on the 5 minute, which I couldn't hit the get out button quick enough, and took me out at 11,553. That was not a major loss, but that was a loss. So that was a 3680 loss, a loss of quite a substantial amount of percentage. So now we are down to 747, a percentage scale. Still up on the actual fund itself by 7%. Got to expect losses all the time. Expect everything to be a loss. My alarm will go off if it gets down towards here, and that'd be me to not even bother looking at the pound euro again. So far, given me a an entry on the 5 minute. I don't trade the 5 minute, I use that as an exit if needed. It is broken below this this trend line, but the 15 minute hasn't given me a entry signal again, so I'll wait for my entry to come along. If there's anyone in the stream, anyone watching, pop a quick chat in the chat box if you want me to look at anything in particular. I'll be more than happy to do so. And let me know if the audio's a bit weird or if the music's too loud. I'm obviously not listening back to myself, so give me a shout if you want me to do anything or change anything with the audio or look at anything in particular. On top of that, we were looking at a double top on the on Brent crude. Unfortunately, that wick went straight through. Wasn't anything for me to pull out. That was on the 15 minute. Went straight through, and it's not giving me a entry signal at all here on oil. And if you were listening earlier today on either Twitch or YouTube, I went through the reasons for not getting into two of the trades at the same time. One was money management side of life. You're not, when you're putting a trade on, when you are trading, you're not just looking at the money that you might lose. You're not just looking at this 30, 50, 50, 100, 50 that you might lose. You're looking at the margin that's required for that trade as well. So if you have a margin of 340, let's say, for a pound euro, and you've only got £1,000 account, and you need another, plus your 50 quid, if it's only 50 quid, plus your 50 quid loss, so let's call that £400, just round it up. You've only got £600 in the account from a margin point of view. If you need another £340 for another trade on the DAX, for instance, then that'll take you way over, or take me way over, 50% of this small account, of the account that we're planning about with now. And part of my trade plan and strategy is that if the margin amount takes me above a certain percentage on my main account, but takes me above, or definitely, takes me below a certain percentage of my main account, or below 50% in this small account, I don't jump into another trade. Not because I don't believe in the strategy, because I do. Because if you do lose your trade and something were to go horribly wrong, someone were to tweet something, and the price of gold, for instance, were to rocket all the way up to, say, 15, 17, not only have I've lost my my risk, but with slippage, and with the fact that if the candles are going too quick, the system doesn't get out quick enough, it may take you even further. If it spikes all the way up to the monthly highs and then drops back down again, it'll take you out somewhere up here, so you'll lose more than your initial risk. So there's always a chance, I've not come across it myself, but there's always a chance that you'll lose your margin and you'll lose your trade risk. And on top of that, there's things that people don't really talk about. For instance, whilst you're in a losing trade, which this one currently is, I pop to my, I can't show the page because it's got other bits and bobs on there, other information about my main accounts as well, but the margin that you have left fluctuates. So whilst I'm in this losing trade, my margin for this account goes up or down depending on what's happening with the trade. And because I want to put more trades on, I have to make sure that the margin that's available and the margin that I'm using are less than 50% of the total fund. So if I were to put the trade on, at the minute I wouldn't be able to, because at least 50% of my fund would be taken up on margin calls. So it's just something that I've always done for the past 6 years. Something I won't get my head changed with. That being said, I have had a short entry on natural gas, which I can't take on the 15-minute, and on the hourly, because of these massive red candles, stochastic has turned, didn't breach the 80, and we've got convergence. So there's a lower high on the stochastic, and price got to here, closed price, not the wick. Then we have another high on the stochastic, and price itself got higher, closed higher than this candle here. So because I have convergence with price and stochastic, and the fact that on the 15-minute it's just come through a support line, so that may turn into resistance, and the fact that it's a Friday. Fridays are fickle. They're weird things, Fridays. I'm going to wait until I get my second entry criteria to even consider going in. And even if I did want to go in, that'll be on my broker anyway, that'll be 245, which will take me down to around about 400 odd in the account, margin wise. So, and what I mean by that is when you get into your broker, and your broker is the same as mine, it's all regulated and monitored, and you've got to go through money laundering regulation and rule. You better see the funds that you've got in there, you better see the profit and loss that you're running. Then it will say what your margin currently is and what's available. And the available margin has to be below 50%, for me, has to be below 50% of the total fund amount. So I've got just over £1,000 in that account now, after that small loss. And I've got just under 50% available left in the margin. I don't want to use that up, because that keeps on fluctuating as and when I am in a losing trade. So the more this loses, the less available margin I have for any other trades. So we'll see what comes this afternoon. I think what we're going to do is leave this running, just keep on talking through some trades. I think this oil setup is quite a good setup. It was a good setup for a breakout above these two highs. Didn't come down to 50% and kept on going. It was a good setup for a breakout above this high, although there is a daily resistance slash support that's up here. Obviously it doesn't really hold much water, because it broke through several times, wasn't really respected apart from this time here. Comes out that was a Monday. Well, that was Monday, should I say. So respected there, but really wasn't, because it just bounced through, and it was respected again on Monday at 9 AM, which that's the major players, for major whales or banks, institutions, and big retail players. These are lines that they look at and will probably trade from or to. But for those of us that aren't whale players, we're not the ones that have the ability to throw cash at them and not care. Certainly not with a small account. We can't really suggest that it's definitely a place to bounce from. Certainly not. I mean, there's been two long entries given to me on oil on the hourly, and on the 15 I've only had the one since it bounced off this trend line here on Wednesday. Admittedly, I'll still be in it now to go long. This may have, if I'd have moved my stop, this may have taken me out. But that's the price you play. That's the game that you have to play in order to become profitable. You have to lose some in order to make more. And as long as you do it, well, not lose, but as long as you trade consistently and you manage your trades and you manage your money and you give trades time to play out, then that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So a quick one before we put this gold trade to bed, and what I mean by that is just I'm not going to close it. I'm just going to move it off to one of my other screens and leave it there. Not really going to do much. Although I might change it out or swap it out with one of these other ones. Yeah, so before I do that, I am expecting that this could pop its way back up and take me out, no problem, and then fall over in the direction that I want it to, which is south. Or it could turn around and just keep on going up. I've not had a get out signal as yet on 15 or on the hourly. 5 minutes did have, but unfortunately I wasn't around at the time. Long term, so over the days, I think that this is going to fall over. I think that if you look at a wider weekly view, we've had this massive move up where we caught some good moves on that day. When was that? That was 1st of July, but had some equally large losses the other day, actually, in August. So it can be a strange thing. For instance, everyone thinks that these are reversal candles. They may well be, but in the context of everything else that's gone on in those days, because this weekly chart, it didn't turn out to be reversal and kept on going. So this might be the time for reversal. Could be just a consolidation phase, a bull flag, a sloping bull flag before it bounces back up again to make massive new. If we go to a monthly chart, it's not the highest it's been. Back in 2011 it was up at 1900s, but since for instance since 2014 gold has been on a slight incline, and this is the biggest it's been for some time. I'll go back down to the hourly to take a look at that. So this hourly candle has breached my entry candle, and I will probably be getting an exit signal soon. It'll be a small loss compared to the pound euro that I've just had. But again, everything is a loss until proven otherwise. Yeah, so I'm just going to shut my my mouth and turn up a little bit of the audio music. There's a couple of people over the road are having some work done to their house and garden, so you might better hear some noise in the background. Let me just see if I can hear that on stream for a second. Yeah, you can. That's weird, isn't it? So I'm gonna shut my mic off and turn the stream audio up. Stick some stuff in the chat if you want to go over anything. I'll be more than happy to do so, and I'll speak to you again in a minute or two.
Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118,
did I again? So, just a quick message, really. There are people who have been talking to me over the past years, really. One of the first things that I realised early on when I started to become profitable was a stochastic high and wicks on the chart mean absolutely nothing. Really, they do. If I could, let me try and find what I mean. Let's go with I'm trying to find what I'm trying to do is trying to find the same as today. So today is, oh, here we go, right. Wasn't far to go, was it? So this is the same as this. And people who say, well, the stochastics are overbought, well, it's not really the same. Stochastics are overbought, and that's not even a thing. And this was a wick, and this is a wick. It's not the same type, is it? So let's move on and see if we can find one that's similar. But I'm not going to be able to find one that's similar now, am I? No. I mean, well, I've not looked for them. I've not found them. But what is that? Why is that there? Go away. Anyway. Yeah. Well, here's one that you can just look at for now. There's a big down candle, but it retraces and gives a wick back that's at least 50% of the actual price movement within that day. This one here. And stochastic is in the middle. You would have imagined that would just continue straight up, and it did. But then you've got stochastic overbought, little wicks, and on the day, you know, when all you can see is the hard right edge, and you look at, you can't really see it. You can't see anything past here, and you just see stochastic is overbought. You want to sell, you keep trying to sell the tops. You can't sell the tops because then it just keeps on going up. That would have been a good one. I'll sell there. It's got to be overbought now. It moves down a little bit, takes you in, and just buggers off to the upside again. I'm never going to be able to find one that's the same as this anyway. Maybe this is the exception to the rule, but many moons ago, whilst I was losing money, people were telling me all the time, you can't look at the wicks, you can't look at the candle wicks themselves and stochastics and say, right, because the stochastic is overbought and that's a big, you know, wick to the upside, that price is going to fall over. It may well do, but it might only fall over to R1 daily, R2 daily, or this support, and then shoot off again. And if you're in the dailies, you're obviously looking for a long-term trade. On the hourlies, when you look at these wicks, see this wick here, these two wicks here, and the overbought stochastic, it'll come down, but it only came down to support, and that's only 12.523 or 5.57. Not a lot, not many points, and then it shot off again. So you try and sell the tops, doesn't really work. And conversely, or inversely, however you want to look at it, buying the bottoms doesn't work either. So it's not that you should forget the candles and forget the stochastics. I mean, they're there for confluence for myself, and you use them however you want to use them. No biggie. I'm not telling you exactly, you know, what to do, but for me, it does show that a strategy is the way ahead. I need to know exactly why I'm getting into the trade, where I'm going to put my stop, where my targets should be if I'm going to put a target in, that kind of stuff. And there's my alert just triggered on the pound euro, so it's a good job I didn't go back in on my long. A very good job that I'm out of my long as well. I would have been taken out with that wick, so didn't lose as much money as I could have. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, so you can't just trade off of stochastics and price. You have to go by a strategy. If your strategy is well, whatever your strategy is, follow it. If your strategy is, if you see this wick and stochastic is overbought, then sell, put your high above the previous high wick, you're probably looking at 200 points on the DAX. Let's have a look, see. That was your strategy, and you were to go in now, and you had to have your stop loss at the above that wick plus some. You're looking at 170, 180 points for a stop. For a small account, that's too rich. You can't do it, especially on the DAX, when I think the minimum is on the DAX. Let me go on to the DAX. DAX. What's the minimum? Oh, minimum is 50, so that would be less than £100. That's great. It's still 10% of your account. But on a whim, just because you think it's going to go down because of price, I need some kind of extra confluence. And just saying, well, it did this here and it fell over here. Yes, it did. It did fall over there. That doesn't mean it's going to the next time, because you don't know where it's going to fall over to. You don't know where the highs are going to be. That could wick up and then fall straight back down again. So 15-minute is looking bearish to me. I haven't had any signals, and the 5-minute is looking bearish as well. I need it to fall below this 12,600 line. Definitely needs to get below this 12,604, and on a 15-minute it has to get below this 12,613 and the resistance at the 1 hourly. And by what I mean by that is, there has to, if it's, and this is the bit that confuses some people. There's a chap called Ron, there's another one called Not Ron, there's Steve, and there's Dolphin Dave. There's a few others that are now texting me. Not sure who's been sending out the information, but anyway, whatever the strategy is, this is a close below, yes, and that is an open below the hourly resistance, yes, but it turned out that it's a green candle. So if that moves in, it's got to be a close below and an open. It's got to be an open below and a close below this resistance in order for it to become valid for me to make an entry. If you wanted to scalp, if you wanted to, not you, but if I wanted to scalp or take money from the market, and all I could see is this hard right edge, there is the top 12,676. This is the candle here, that's the candle high. So 655 to 677 is all I would be happy to take on that scalp, and it just about makes it on this one. Just about on here, I see. But then this is a breakout. So there's a double top, give or take. Breaks out to the upside and only goes to the pivot. You'd be looking at certain areas to take it. On a longer term trend or longer term trade, you are looking at, let me get in and show this on my strategy anyway. I'm looking at well, I won't take you through my strategy, that would be ridiculous, but I'm looking at a move from roughly the 9th or 10th of this month, and the signal, you can't see it, it's not on there, it doesn't pop up saying signal go north or south, it's just I know what my signal is, and it was on the 9th and 10th, or 9th or 10th, to go long. And on the other account I did go long, and I'm still long because there's been no exit signal. And when there is a negative exit signal, then I'll close that trade and either take the profit or take the loss. There's no animosity, there's no, oh, it could be north, it could be south. Even if because I got in here on this small account, even if I got in here and it turned over and fallen down and lost the account or lost some money, it's still a valid trade, still a valid setup, still a valid signal from my strategy. And as long as you do it constantly, consistently, you manage your trade and you manage your money and you give it time to play out. With a small account, you have to, well, I think you have to take profits where profit is offered. So on this major resistance, I can smell burning. On a major resistance, I took some profits. Then at the next major resistance point, I took some more profits and closed out the trade on the next candle. I should have just let it go, same as I was doing for my other accounts, because I'd still be in the black. It'd still be making extra pips and a bigger percentage. But you shouldn't worry about what you've missed, what you could have had, what you should have had. That's not how trading works. You need to get over it, walk away from it, shake it off, and look for the next one. That smell of smoky burning is getting even stronger, so I'm going to go down and make sure that everything seems to be a okie dokie hunky, and I'll be back on stream in a second or two. Back in a minute, boys and girls, if anyone's watching or listening. Just going to sort out that burning smell. Hold on. Haha, I'm back. Kind of, nearly, possibly. Yeah. Just see whether my stream is still going. That burning smell was the neighbour who's having some things done to his garden. Anyway, where was I? Where were we? Oh yeah. So let me bring gold back on. Gold made a massive push up to the daily resistance and has now given me an exit signal here on the 15. Hourly still thinks it's about to push up, so it'll be another while before I can get another entry signal in. So the strategy calls for me to wait for this candle to form and then exit at the close of this candle if certain parameters and criteria are met. So we've got 11 minutes left until that closes. Here on the DAX, there is a signal for entry. Daily is looking quite bearish, big old push up, but again you shouldn't look at the wick and the stochastic, because this could still ride all the way back up to the weekly highs. It could be another push up to the weekly highs, which fair enough weren't touched, haven't been touched since July 18, but you can't just go off one set of or a couple of sets of information. You've got to take it all in moderation. So my entry signal has come and gone. I can't get in there because of the margin rule that I have, which is a shame. I think this might actually push up a little bit higher before falling over, so we might be able to, or could have been able to, get some extra profit percentage gain through that. It is a shame, and it being a Friday, I would have to have left it on probably over the weekend, and I'm not here next week. I can't trade next week. I'm away, so next week would have been a sat wherever I'm sitting, hopefully with a couple of beers in my hands, watching the phone or the iPad, and just closing trades out. I don't enter onto trades normally on the hourly or 15-minute on the phone, not unless it's glaringly obvious and I've set some criteria for myself. I tend to only set trades on a computer through the web interface that my broker has, or here on Pro Real Time. It's gratis. It's given to me from my broker, and if I didn't make the trades required, it would cost me, I think it's about £40 a month, something like that. You can always go to itfinance.com and you can get real-time data from them for a set fee. I'm not entirely sure how much that is. Hop along to IT Finance and have a look for yourself if it's of interest to you. It's highly customizable. It does lots of things for you. Just have to then focus on the price and your trades. This little alarm that's gone off is telling me that the pound euro wants to push higher again. So maybe I think I can make that one. Let me have a look, see on my broker. No, I can't. Yeah, it's 385. So I can't even get into this one either, which is a shame. I only have the one trade on, which is gold, but even so, that's well, what's that, 200 and something odd pounds. Let me look now. Boom. Yeah, 208 pound margin, and if I put another 300 pound on, 385 pound on, that takes it above the 500 limit, so I can't add any more, unfortunately. So that's a bummer. I'll leave that there. This natural gas, which has given me a signal. Natural gas. Let me go to natural gas. on my broker. So for a 243, so I could do a natural gas trade, but it's not finished yet, and I doubt that it will give me a signal in time for the 4:30, 4 o'clock cut off that I've given myself. And it would need to, if anyone's interested, not that anyone is, it would need to close for me below this 2424 mark. It needs to break the low of this wick in order for it to go south even further. So it's not showing me that at the minute. And the oil, or Brent crude, 1 hour, that's showing that it might pop down. For people who are interested, the way that you can check this out, or can see where things are going to move to, could move to, or have moved to, is from the low that you want to look at, and it could be down. This one is Wednesday, but let's go for the Thursday low to the Thursday high on a Fibonacci. It made it down to 38 roughly, a 38.2 retracement. So what you would want is, from here to here, you would want a 38.2 retracement up. And if you take it from this low to this high, this will probably work out to be a 38.2 as well. Let me just double check that. From there to there, 38.2, within a few points. It may well come down. It's when it breaches this 38.2, because that was confluence with that, and stochastic is now, or starts to go below the 80, and other factors on a lower time frame. Let's say, for instance, a breach of this low, so that breaches that 38.2, and then breaches this low in the pivot, because it might just touch the pivot and bugger off. That's when you can safely say, right, it might be time now to go for a short. But failing that, not a huge amount that you can do. If I had to put a double top on there to come down to the pivot, it would have been successful, I'm guessing, but not one that I'm willing to risk on. If this move down only made it to a 38.2, that would have been good confidence for a bounce up to break past this daily resistance. Because it's gone past the 61.8, although it's not closed below it, it's gone below it. A close below 61.8 for me historically says that it's going to continue south. So at the minute there's no signal for anything on the charts. A minute, I'll leave that there. Nothing on Brent crude. There is one about to form. I would suggest maybe even before 4 on natural gas. There is a signal on pound euro, but I can't get in to that, which is a shame. And with the DAX, I love the DAX. There is a signal, but again, I can't get into it. The DAX margin, let me just see, would be 316, which takes me over the £500 threshold. So my own rules are stopping me from getting into this trade, and that's okay. It's not as if I've missed out on anything. People might be thinking, oh yeah, but you've missed out on that monster move if it makes a monster move. From a visual perspective, yes. Let me just have a quick drink of fizzy carbonated loveliness. From a visual perspective, yes, but also I've not lost anything. So far, on the account. This has been a loser, the Brent Crude one. That was also a loser, the Brent Crude one. This was a loser on DAX, which wasn't really a loser because it was part of this trade. They're both the same, so it was a win overall. You take 150 from 744, it's still a win. So, but anyway, I calculate it as a loser, and this was a loser. This gold dollar was this pound euro was a loser, so not gold. So all in all, there's been 4 losers, 3 really, but 4 losers, and the rest have all been winners, and I'm still 7.4% up on the account. Not doing very well on the risk reward ratio, but hey, that's how it works. Remember, these aren't worked out on a static amount. For this account, doesn't really make any difference. If it was all £90 or all £100, and it wouldn't be like that. It would be very, very different. I might show that in a different video, but for now, I just want this risk reward ratio to be above 5 for me to be happier. The DAX, excuse you, is showing me a little signal. I should probably look at closing maybe the gold trade, seeing whether I can jump on the other trade. But this gold trade, yeah, actually, that is showing me I should get out. So I'll go ahead and close that one. Ding ding ding. Oh, round 3. And we'll wait for a signal on either natural gas to form or for this to give me a second signal for entry. So it's been fun whilst no one's watching. It's just me talking to myself, which is always awesome. Great. But if anyone's watching this in the future, thanks for watching. Come back again soon. And if I'm teaching you anything, let me know. You know, not that I care, because I'm not getting paid by YouTube or anything. Even on Twitch, I'm not getting paid by them to for any advertisement. There's no revenue stream coming in from YouTube or Twitch. And even if there was, it's nothing. It would be literally pennies per 1,000 views. It's nothing. It's not even worth doing for ad revenue on YouTube or Twitch. So I'm not doing this for the money on Twitch or YouTube. I'm doing this purely because there's a lot of shit out there. There really is. And my the strategy that I'm implementing here is successful. Not overly successful at the minute, because we've only been trading it for 5, but it's still successful. But there's a lot of shit out there. A lot of FX style YouTube, Twitch people and Instagram and Twitter that are selling their crap to people who, like myself 6-7 years ago, would be snapping that up. It's only 20 quid, or it's only this, or it's only that, and it's a one-off fee of blah. And that's all you get. You don't get the rest of the information. You don't get the, well, what if this happens, or this has happened, what do I do now? You get the bog standard, here's the strategy, go away and do it. You know, you get some chatter about trading psychology, but you don't get, just move my mic, you don't get the rest of it. You don't get, there's a, I should have been in down here at the break of this trend line. Similarly, I should have been there, but I would have been a loser. I should have been here, and it doesn't tell me on any of my well, it might not tell you, should I say, if you buy someone else's strategy, to get out at daily support or resistance. And, you know, rightfully so, this can just turn around and go straight back up again. Bounce straight through that and hit the 1 hourly and make an extra 100 points from now. Right? Get it done. It's Friday, we're going into the weekend, you've no idea what's going to happen on the dark markets, and that's the markets that aren't visible to all the other market makers or ECNs or brokers. It's a dark pool where it's just shoved in, and if and when it gets triggered from a larger pool rather than from the broker. So you don't know what's going to be sat weekend, Sunday, waiting to happen a Sunday night when these things open again. Apologies if you can hear the work going on. Let me see if I can hear that myself. No, you can when I'm talking, but anyway. So, what was I saying? Completely forgot what I was meant to be. What was I meant to be saying? Anyway, yeah. So you can't just blindly trade anything. You need to have a set of rules. That's where my strategy comes in. Yes, my strategy does lose sometimes. You've seen that. I've informed you of that. There are other, in my estimation, very reputable people on YouTube who do show their losses. They're small, they're compact, and they're quick. Similar to others that are, profitable on YouTube. If you get an Instagram trader telling you they don't have any losses, or that you can avoid losses by not having a stop, then stay well clear. Stay well and truly clear. I might, because I now closed that gold trade, I might now be looking at a short on the natural glass. We'll do some more investigation into that and possibly jump on that bandwagon. The DAX is giving me, what did I do that for? The DAX is giving me a signal, which which I might be looking at taking shortly over the natural gas, only because I love the DAX. I literally love it. It's my affair. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna close the stream in a minute or two. Not that anyone is on the chat, but if anyone would like to talk about something, send me some mail. It's madtrader@yahoo.com. Jump onto Twitter. There is an Instagram account for it. I've done it for the Facebook group. Find it on Facebook. Find it on Twitch. And send me a link, or even on this video, send me a message. Put a comment down below. I will be more than happy to answer them as best I can when I get to review the video. Bear in mind, I'm not here next week. No trading from Mad Trading next week. We are away. So have yourselves a good evening and a good Friday. Hope your weekend works out well, and I shall speak to you shortly. I know it's annoying, this music. Well, actually, I'm saying that. It's not that annoying to me anymore. It has grown, and I'm kind of loving it. Ooh, look at a bit of a spacey atmosphere. Loves it. But have a read of this disclaimer at your leisure. Pause this video if you're watching it back. Pause it now, live, and have a read. And I'll be back on YouTube and Twitch. Well, I'm on Twitch tonight at 9 or 9:30. Come and join me. But I'll be back on YouTube and Twitch in 2 weeks' time, where I can go over these trades, but also start trading afresh on that Monday. Have yourselves a brilliant weekend. Go on, get smagged.